Namaskar Mandali. As you are aware, Mumbai city along with the rest of the world is currently fighting the coronavirus pandemic.
Oh my God, what a stunner!
But do you know that the city had to fight a similar battle in the past? Back in the 1896, another infectious disease was spreading throughout the city. A disease more khatarnak than coronavirus. Really, it was very dangerous. The effect was so much, the population actually decreased. Today I would like to talk about a dark chapter in Bombay's history. A chapter that left its mark all over the city. We'll talk about who were the people that helped stop the plague, how were the people of Bombay affected due to the plague, what were the actions taken by the government during those times, and how Bombay eventually changed because of the plague. The Bombay Plague was discovered by Dr. Acacio Villegas in the Mandvi region of South Bombay in September of 1896. उनका मांडवी रीजन में एक क्लिनिक था और उनको लोकल्स ने इन्फॉर्म किया कि बहुत सारे लोग किसी डिजीज से सफर कर रहे हैं. He started investigating by visiting the patient's home. He saw that all of them had the same symptoms and that the symptoms were similar to bubonic plague. Bubonic plague was previously spotted in Europe in 1347. This plague was also known as the Black Death. This plague had resulted in the death of 1/3 of Europe's population. As you can imagine, when Dr. Villegas realized that there might be an outbreak happening in Bombay, he immediately rushed to inform the governor of Bombay.
I've got to do the news!
The British governor of Bombay at that time was Lord Sandhurst. This is the same person after whom the Harbour Line station Sandhurst Road is named. The government has proposed to change the name of the station because they say why stick to the British legacy. But I believe there is another reason here. You see, a lot of people in Bombay find it difficult to say the name Sandhurst. Oh bhaiya, ek sandas return dena. When Dr. Villegas informed Lord Sandhurst about the outbreak, he did not believe him.
Kuch bhi?
He called experts to verify, and the experts confirmed that it was indeed the bubonic plague. अब सबकी फट गई थी. Okay, just to clarify, plague और COVID-19 में कोई नाजायज संबंध नहीं है. COVID-19 is caused by a virus, whereas the bubonic plague was caused by a bacteria. It is now widely believed that the plague started in the Yunnan region of China and from there spread to Hong Kong, and from Hong Kong spread to different port cities all around the world, including Mumbai. The bacteria that causes plague lives in rodents, chualug, rats, and when these rats come in contact with humans, the fleas from the rats bite humans, and that's how humans get the bacteria and end up getting the plague. It is believed that rats from Hong Kong traveled on ships to Bombay. Bombay had beautiful buildings and roads. However, this was limited to only a small section of the city, what we today call the fort area. The rest of the city was full of slums and chawls, and laborers and mill workers were living in cramped up conditions which were not very hygienic. Mandvi was one such example, and the area was sprawling with rats, which led to the spread of the disease. So Villegas started treating the patients in the area at great personal risk, while the government was coming up with a plan to control the plague. The lafda was that there was no vaccine for the plague. Even the Black Death, the Great Plague of Europe, had just ended, and there were small outbreaks here and there, but it never actually went away. It was controlled by isolating people, cleaning up residential areas, and exterminating rats. The word quarantine actually originated during the Black Death, when people were isolated for a period of 40 days. Quarantino is an Italian word for a 40-day period. While the government was coming up with a plan, the people of Bombay had already started leaving the city due to fear of the plague. This led to the plague spreading to Maharashtra and rest of India. Luckily, at that time, Dr. Vladimir Haffkine was doing research in Calcutta. He had recently discovered a vaccine for cholera, and the government of India asked him to go to Bombay to help with the plague. Ja beta ja, jaldi teri zarurat hai udhar.
I've got to do the news!
Haffkine reached Bombay and set up his lab in JJ Hospital and worked day and night to find a vaccine. The lab that he was working in was called Room 000. After 3 months of hard work, he was finally able to find a vaccine for the plague. He started by testing it on himself, and when he did not die, he realized that he could test it on other people. But volunteers were hard to come by. People were afraid of getting injected by something that they were not really sure of. He eventually ended up working with the prisoners in Bhaikala jail as test subjects. I don't think the prisoners had a say in the matter, but the good news is that the prisoners didn't die and the vaccine proved to be successful. Inventing a vaccine doesn't stop the plague. You still have to produce it on large scale and then get people vaccinated. To scale up the production of vaccine, Lord Sandhurst, the governor of Bombay, offered Haffkine an area in Parel. This was the governor's official residence until 1885. 1945. The residence had then shifted to its present location in Malabar Hill. Since no one was using it, it was a perfect location to build a research institute. The institute came to be known as Haffkine Institute, and Dr. Haffkine was appointed as its director-in-chief. I grew up 10-minute walking distance away from the Haffkine Institute in Parel, and it is absolutely ridiculous that I didn't know this story. By now, the plague had spread to rest of India, and Pune was also affected badly. Sounds familiar? While Dr. Haffkine was preparing the vaccine, the British government was taking steps to stop the spread of the plague. This is when they introduced the Epidemic Disease Act of 1897. This is the same act which is being used today to fight the coronavirus. The act gave the officials special powers to tackle the plague. British soldiers were brought in to conduct door-to-door searches. Infected people were separated and kept in isolation wards. Special hospitals were created to treat the patients. The government carried out drives to disinfect gullies and chawls. They also started demolishing buildings where infections were high. All measures were logical on paper, but the implementation led to a lot of anger among the people. They felt very humiliated and ill-treated. They felt that the officials were not treating them as people. Plague है तो क्या हुआ भाई, हमारा भी कुछ इज्जत है ना. Door-to-door searches were like ransacking. It was almost as if तुम लोग के घर में डाकू घुस के सब इधर-उधर उथल-पुथल कर रहे. उथल-पुथल. Vaccine was there. Preparation was going on for large-scale production. Actions were being taken to stop the spread and control it. The next step now was to prepare the city to avoid future outbreaks. The reason Bombay Plague was devastating was because people were living in cramped up spaces in unhygienic, unsanitary condition, which was a recipe for disaster. Through an act of parliament, the governor of Bombay, Lord Sanders, created the Bombay City Improvement Trust. This trust was tasked to improve the city's infrastructure to prevent such outbreaks in the future. The Bombay City Improvement Trust emphasized that we need to plan our cities better. We need to have gardens, we need to have wider roads. They started by building planned housing colonies in Dadar, Vada, Matunga and Sion area. Hindu colony, Parsi colony, Five Garden area in Dadar and Tamil colony in Matunga were part of this project. They built a north-south road to connect the old settlements with this new settlements. The road was called Sydenham Road, but today we know it as Muhammad Ali Road. They also built a road to connect east and the west called Princess Street, which is today known as Samaldas Gandhi Marg. This was meant to channel the sea breeze into the congested residential areas. Eventually, the world, India and Bombay were able to defeat the plague. The plague taught us a very important lesson, that we need to build our cities better. We need to make sure there are open spaces and gardens. We need to keep sanitation and hygiene as #1 priority. And now COVID-19 is here to help us revise that lesson. Plagues, viruses तो आते जाते रहेंगे. Some we can avoid, others we cannot. But what we can definitely do is help keep our cities clean. As Indians, we know the importance of washing. बाकी दुनिया तो फिर भी पेपर इस्तेमाल करती है. हमको तो धोने की आदत है. बस वैसे ही अपने हाथ धोने घिस के और शरीर के साथ शहर को भी साफ रखना है. Remember, back then and even now, the answer is same. स्वच्छ मुंबई, स्वस्थ मुंबई. Thank you.
दिल है मुश्किल जीना यहाँ, जरा हट के जरा बच के, ये है बॉम्बे मेरी जान.